Hi everyone, welcome to Dit Dot. My name's Amanda and today we are making Southwest Chicken Eggrolls. Or that's at least the game plan. I found a recipe on a website called Budget 101 and it's a Copycat Chili's Southwest Chicken Eggroll. I've made these in the past, but again, it's been a while. And there was a cool twist on this recipe that I had not heard of before. So I'm really excited to try it out and see what I think of the twist. You can see it at the end of the video. All right, so to get started, I've gathered up some ingredients and we're gonna assemble the filling for these egg rolls. So I was gathering up some ingredients and I was prepping. I was gonna cut up all my bell pepper ahead of time. And I was like, you know, I actually have a really kind of cool tip. So I wanted to show y'all. When you are cutting up a bell pepper and you wanna dice it, if you put the skin side down to the cutting board, it helps your knife go through the bell pepper easier than like if it was flipped with the skin side up. Then your knife is, well, my knives are actually really, really sharp right now, but generally speaking, it will be easier to cut if you're skin side down. So that's something I learned a long time ago. And sorry, you're hearing the clicking of my pug Watson's nails. He likes to, you know, put his interest into these videos. But yeah, that's something I learned a while ago about cutting the bell peppers skin side down, and it really does make it go a lot quicker. I like to use my knife to scoop up things. And so for the filling, I started out earlier today. I grilled up a whole thing of chicken, and don't worry, we're not using this much chicken. But when I go to grill, I like to grill a ton of chicken at once, and I'll use this week in salads and wraps and maybe even a casserole. But it's just really fun to be able to grill a bunch of chicken at once. So I'm gonna just dice up some of this chicken, and because these are gonna be in egg rolls, you are going to want your pieces of anything, the bell peppers, the meat, anything that we're gonna put, you're going to want them to be pretty small. So that way, when you go to bite into an egg roll, you're not getting like a big chunk of meat. Just gonna give these a really quick chop up. That's funny, when I started this channel a couple months ago, my knives were super dull and I'm like, I've got to get them sharpened, and I finally got myself to sharpen them, and oh my gosh, what a difference it makes. If you're not working with sharp knives, find a knife sharpener in your city, or actually there's some now that you can mail in your knives and then they'll mail them back to you sharp. But I've got this awesome guy in Vancouver that sharpens them and gets them back to you in one day. So can't beat that. I don't know why I put it off for so long. So all of those chicken breasts that I showed you, each one I had filleted in half so that they would cook faster and that your seasoning would be more evenly distributed. This would be the equivalent to one chicken breast. I'm not sure if I want to do one or two. So, you know, I never actually follow recipes. If you stick around on my blog, my blog, I used to be a blogger. I don't follow recipes, so that makes blogging very hard. But on YouTube, you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I think I'm gonna do 1.5 chicken breast here. The recipe that I followed, which I will link below, I think she made a smaller amount of egg rolls. I mean, cause she was like talking about a tablespoon of this and tablespoon of that. I'm like, I'm doing this as a main dish for my family for dinner tonight. I want more, so I'm scaling everything up from what the original recipe said. And I always make extra filling. Whenever there's a dish like this that calls for a filling, I always make extra. Got my ring. I'm trying to be all fancy for y'all. I usually don't cook with jewelry on. So I got a big bowl here to mix up our filling. I'm gonna put the chicken that's been long cooled, because like I said, I cooked all that chicken up earlier this afternoon. And I just coated it with some oil and chili powder and smoked salt. And that's just kept it really simple today. So I got almost a ramekin full, which is probably about half a cup of the bell pepper. And now I'm going to add in, oh, did I drop a bell pepper, Watson? Add in about the same amount of frozen corn, and this is still frozen. By the way, if you've ever seen these kind of Clippies, I absolutely love them. I bought these off Amazon. They're great for chips. They come in all different sizes, but they're great for freezer bags. I put them on my chips, anything that you want to store. And then I'm gonna use about half a can of black beans. I already rinsed and drained these, so you don't want that black bean juice in here. So I'm gonna use about half the can. Now, spinach. So this was frozen spinach. I thawed it out. I try to eliminate or reduce the amount of paper products I have in my kitchen. So I have a green dish towel. This is my spinach towel. If anybody has a better trick for getting the water out of frozen spinach, oh my gosh, please. I will forever be your friend because I hate this process. I love frozen spinach. I love using it in dishes, but look how much water comes out. It's so ridiculous. But I use this green towel so that way if it stains, you would never know. I keep this one around to keep it nice and clean, and it's just for my spinach. So this was about half a bag of frozen spinach, just your normal standard size, small bag of frozen spinach, not a large bag. And you always got to remember how much spinach cooks down. So it's really not that much, but it just gives a little extra flavor and a little bit of, see, like, it's just like a tiny little amount, but just kind of break it up so that way when you go to stir this, it helps it disperse throughout the filling. And it does, it really adds something to this dish. So if you absolutely hate spinach, you could substitute your favorite green or just leave it out. Spinach flying everywhere. All right, I'm gonna set this aside to wash and clean up a little bit. I'm gonna add some garlic powder because everything's better with garlic, and just a little bit more chili powder. Like I said, I coated my chicken with chili powder. Oh yeah, and if you want a shortcut, I used, like I said, grilled chicken, which is gonna add a lot of flavor to this dish. But if you want a shortcut, use some canned chicken that you just drain and rinse off. And I have done these egg rolls with just canned chicken meat, and they come out great, and it's a super shortcut and makes this kind of a pantry dish, pantry slash, you know, fridge freezer. Like, this is all stuff that I would normally have, you know, in my pantry. Cilantro is a very decisive ingredient, so you can obviously leave this out. I think Budget 101 had parsley in theirs, but I felt cilantro would be better. So you can definitely use cilantro, you could use parsley, or you could just leave out this ingredient. I'm really excited. This came from my tiny little herb garden that got started this year. I have a YouTube friend who lives in Florida. Her name is Cynthia. Her YouTube channel is Our Big's Adventure. And she was posting photos on Instagram the other day of her garden hauls because she lives in Florida. So her tomatoes and cucumbers are like going like gangbusters. And I'm like, I can barely get some herbs. I wouldn't trade it. I love living in Washington, but I'm definitely not a gardener. So I've got probably more cilantro than I really need, but I'm actually one of those weird people who likes it a lot, which is very interesting because they say if you hate cilantro, like when you're a kid, like some people it tastes like soap. And it used to for me. I hated cilantro and it always tasted like soap to me. I'm like, who would eat this? But somehow my taste buds actually changed and now I love it. But what I've heard from people is like, if you once hate cilantro, it's a food that you'll never learn to like. Well, don't believe them because I used to hate it and now I love it. I'm gonna put the cilantro in there, and then our last ingredient for the filling is a bunch of Monterey Jack cheese. Okay, so about 3/4 of a bag is what I'm gonna start with, and we'll see if I wanna add more. It's very gray here today. We've had a lot of really nice, amazing weather, and this is our first rainy day that we've had in a while, so it's like very peaceful and quiet, and it's a Saturday here. I don't know what day this video will go up, probably Wednesday, but right now it's Saturday and the neighborhood's actually really quiet today. Okay, I'm actually gonna give this a taste. I don't think I'll need to add any salt or anything, but I'm gonna taste it and see. I'm fixing this for my family, so I'm just gonna eat off the spoon. That's good. I do think it needs more cheese though, because the cheese is kind of what's gonna bind all this together once it like melts, you know? Because this is very dry filling. Now, the very cool thing, let me get it out of the refrigerator. Okay, every time I've ever made these before, I've used either egg roll wrappers or tortillas. This recipe said to either make your own tortillas or you can buy these raw, ready to cook tortillas from the store. I have actually used these before, but never in this preparation. So I'm really excited. So you're supposed to wrap these raw, and then the original recipe says to deep fry them. I don't like deep frying, it's messy, and I just avoid it whenever possible. But I have, when I've done the egg roll wrapper method and the just regular tortilla method, I've always baked them and they've come out great, and I use raw egg roll wrappers. So I'm going to try this with the raw tortillas and baking, and we're gonna see how it turns out. I'm really excited to try this. I think it'll work. So we just need to make sure that we cook them long enough that the tortillas get cooked. So you can see they're, they are raw. They're just dough that has been, and you find these in the refrigerator section. In my grocery store, they are close to where the sandwich meats are. They're kind of, and the cheeses, they're kind of in that area. All right, so we're gonna put this filling down at one end. Oh, I need a little bowl and some water because we'll have to dab these to kind of get them to close. So if you put the filling down at one end, you can roll it closed, kind of fold it over itself. These are a little harder. They're thicker than egg roll wrapper, so they're a little harder to fold. Like I said, I haven't used them in this method before, so we're giving it a try. And then I'm going to dab this with some water to make it like kind of activate like a glue. Yeah, that's gonna work. And then put it on my cookie sheet. And I'm gonna line these up, and then I'll show you the next step after that. Okay, so I have them all wrapped up. This made 12. I do have leftover, like I said, I always make too much filling, but I'm not sad about that because this will make really excellent hash. So in order for this to work well in the oven, you do need a lot of olive oil or butter or whatever you want to use. Avocado oil would be good. You want to liberally spread the olive oil on these egg rolls, and actually, we want to make sure we get the other side too, because I did not pre-grease my cookie sheet and I don't want them to stick. So make sure that you get all sides of these so that they don't stick and then look crispy all the way around. Make sure you get the ends because the heat is going to hit these well, they kind of look like little burritos, egg rolls. And if everything goes well, they will kind of like make little, what am I trying to describe? Little bubbles of dough, I guess. I don't know. If it goes according to my plan, a crazy, crazy plan. So the reason why I got excited about this over the idea of just using regular already cooked tortillas is I think this will have a better end crunchiness, I think. That's my theory, we'll see. But if you do have a deep fryer and you like deep frying, at this stage you can carefully drop them into deep fry, making sure that they sealed really nicely. See, that water helped seal them up pretty good, but you might want to be more careful with your ends here if you're going to deep fry them so that all your stuffing doesn't fly out. I don't want to get like so much oil, so I'm trying to brush off some. You just want them well coated. I have some vegetarian friends of this channel, so these would be really good if you cooked up some mushrooms and added it. I would pre-cook them so that, again, like the spinach, you can get some of the moisture out, and add a bunch of mushrooms or tofu, or just even up your bell pepper and maybe saute up some zucchini to add to these, just up the vegetable level. Onion, add in some white onions, and then you can make these as vegetarian or vegan. I mean, you'd have to obviously use a vegan cheese, but all right, let me wash my hands. And just for fun, I've got this smoked salt, which I need to refill my little container. I buy it in bulk on Amazon. And I'm going to sprinkle some of these salt crystals on top just for a little extra. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It If you have not added smoked salt to your kitchen spices, I highly recommend it. It just adds that little something special. So I've got my oven preheating at 425. I've got it set to convection. If you've got a convection oven, use that. Otherwise, 425, 450. And I'm gonna put these in for 20 minutes and check on them and see how the dough looks, because everything inside is cooked. So we're just cooking the outside dough. And then we might need to flip them. So let's just kind of keep our eye on them and see how they do. And I will be back to show you how to make a dipping sauce for these. We're going to make an avocado, like basically a homemade ranch dressing dip. So I'm only gonna use half of this avocado. I'm going to use my fork to mash this up really well. This is a pretty ripe avocado. I'm laughing because one of my videos, oh gosh, which one was it? I was trying to make, oh, it was the avocado bean wraps. If you've not watched that one, oh, it's so good. But I had a avocado that was not quite ripe enough, and I fought that thing like crazy. I was like, this isn't even gonna work for a video. It tasted good. It just did not want to mash. It's kind of funny. I love those avocado bean wraps. Okay, so you want to get this mashed up pretty darn well. If you've got a little food processor, like a Magic Bullet or something, you could throw all these ingredients in there and just whoosh it together and it would go fast. But I figured we would just do it this way. All right, I'm going to put in a little bit of mayonnaise, like a good spoonful. And, okay, yeah, you probably should use another spoon, but I'm not going to, of the sour cream. And I'm going ahead and using the like liquid that pulls to the top because I want this to be a little bit runny anyway. So just go ahead and use up that liquid that it gives you. And then I'm stirring this together and we're gonna add in some onion powder. There you go. I love these things, but every once in a while they get stuck. So onion powder. Our friend, oh, faithful, oh, look at Watson looking. He's waiting to see what will Mama drop. Not dropping anything today, you puggo. Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? So this is some dill. And we got some parsley. And I forgot the salt and pepper. Pepper, some salt, and a shot of lime juice. Now, if you have real lime, go ahead and use it. I love this lime juice, not from concentrate. It's pure lime juice. It's great for cooking because you always have some in the refrigerator. It lasts for a long time. And we're gonna give this a stir. Oh my gosh, it looks so perfect. And give it a taste. Surprisingly, I don't really taste the avocado that much. But that's okay, I'm not gonna add more because I wanna save that for something for tomorrow. It's definitely more on the ranchy side and less on the avocado side. So if you really want that punch of avocado, I would use more. But otherwise, the seasonings taste really spot on. And they're gonna go so, it's gonna go so good with that. If you want it to be spicy, add some red pepper flakes or some diced up jalapeno to this. It'd be really good. All right, I'm gonna get this all cleaned up and then we'll be back to check on the egg rolls. All right, these are starting to get a little bit of golden brown, so I'm gonna pull them out. We're gonna look at them and probably flip them over. So I'm gonna, oh look, they're even more golden brown on the bottom. So that's good. Because then the other side will get that nice crispy color once we put them back in the oven. These are coming out so great. Back in the oven for like, oh, I pulled these out. It wasn't quite 20 minutes. Like I said, I was keeping my eye on them. It was more like 15. So now I'm gonna put them back in for maybe 2 or 3 more minutes and see how they look. I've got a nice side salad to go with these. This beautiful bowl, my friends who were here last weekend where I did the breakfast enchilada casserole video, they brought this as a housewarming gift to me and it was so super sweet and I absolutely am in love with this salad bowl. It's so gorgeous. But anyway, so we're gonna have a side salad and some fresh tomato, not tomatoes. And we're gonna have some fresh strawberries to go alongside these delicious egg rolls tonight. I'm very excited. So we're just gonna let these cook up a bit and we'll pull them out and we'll cut one open and see how it looks. All right, so just pulled them out of the oven. They're looking really good. They got some nice brown color. Probably, you know, I could have left them in there a little bit longer, but I'm really hungry and I think they're good. So we're gonna cut it in half and see how it looks. They always cut them on an angle. We don't have a Chili's here, so this is very exciting because I really do love these egg rolls at Chili's, which is a restaurant here in America, because I know I have some viewers from other countries, but we don't have a Chili's. So whenever I'm craving these, I do like to make them homemade. They're so pretty. Oh, it's very hot. I wanna show it to you though. Whew. Look at that. The insides look just like they do at the restaurant. Very, very cool. All right, I'm gonna give one a taste. That is so good. It really does take me back to being at the restaurant. They deep fry theirs, but I don't miss the fact that it's not deep fried. It's excellent. Highly recommend. So it's actually after dinner, but I realized that I went on and on about using the raw tortillas, and then when they were cooked, I was so focused on calling the family down to dinner that I forgot to really talk about them very much. They actually worked really well, and what I like about them over using just a cooked tortilla is that the inside still has, I mean, it's cooked through, but it has like that, like almost doughy texture where the outside is nice and crispy. And so you have that contrast of textures, which I really think worked to the egg roll's benefit. Where the egg roll wrapper, if you use an egg roll wrapper, again, it's just like that one, those are usually a little bit more crispy and it's just one texture all the way around. But this, you actually have kind of layers of texture. You can see like layers of the tortilla, and we ate these for dinner and they are just so delicious. So I'm really excited that I found this recipe. Again, it was Budget 101. I will link the description, or I'll link the actual recipe inspiration that I took from down in the description box. So, all right, anyway, just had to pop back on here and say that. Definitely give this recipe a thumbs up. And I mean this video, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the next video.